Welcome to Inspired Artist Podcast with me, Porter Singer. I'm speaking with Paloma Devi today. Paloma and I have known each other for many, many years. In fact, maybe Paloma, I will ask you when you get on just how many years we can recollect knowing each other. We started a small little sadhana band, which was really cute with our friend Allison at some point. So we were like the designated sadhana band for the yoga studios in LA for a little while there. And that's actually what got me to winter solstice, my first winter solstice Kundalini yoga event, which was pretty interesting because that was when I basically got engaged. I wasn't really planning on talking about that. That began that process. But anyway, Paloma and I have have known each other for a while. She's toured with the GuruGanesha Band. I saw her when she came to Phoenix. They opened for Deva Premal and Me10, which is pretty exciting. Paloma Devi has been described, I'll read a little bit from her bio, as the golden voice of the new age. She is a soul singer, ethnic dancer, and seasoned yogini. As an internationally recognized teacher and singer, her voice carries the sadhana spiritual discipline of her 24 years of yoga practice and has been heard by millions around the world. So she began dancing at age 5, began dancing ballet and studying the piano. I've been really enjoying your Instagram videos of your piano playing, actually. Maybe we can talk about that. Her voice practice began just after a long battle with a childhood illness and a life-saving surgery. She has earned a degree in world religions, Asian studies, and dance, and she has fulfilled her master's degree in Theta Healing, is a certified Reiki Master Teacher, and has completed 3 different yoga teacher training programs. Wow, that's really cool. I didn't know about that. From these outer and inner studies, she has birthed Vocal Moksha Method, a synthesis of sound healing and vocal liberating techniques to expand the voice and heal through song. Paloma helps the students remove any block to their deepest expression so one can feel freed to bathe in one's greatest healer, the human voice. Ooh, well, I definitely resonate with that. All right, well, so let's get into this and chat with Paloma. Here we go.
Hi.
So are you still doing the vocal practice with people?
Yes. Yeah, actually, I just got some new students enrolled and I had taken a break for a while, focusing on different aspects of business and motherhood and all that, artistic rebirth as well. So yeah, I'm very much taking new students and enjoying the new incarnation of myself and the work being received.
Wow.
Yeah.
Did you create this? Like was this birthed by you or was it
Yes.
sort of yeah? Okay, because
Yeah.
you also I didn't realize how many like certifications and degrees you had. So it seems like no, but it's your own thing. That's really
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah. It's a synthesis of all the stuff that I've been studying and utilizing to basically heal myself because I've had so many in the past, so many challenges
Yeah.
with my body and with my voice, even mostly self-inflicted way back. But because I got my voice to this like almost zero level, between smoking and a very severe battle with eating disorder, anorexia and bulimia. And yeah, I mean, couple that with smoking and all that, it's a pretty bad situation. And
Yeah.
when I realized that I was here to speak and I was here to sing, that realization came hand in hand with almost the devastation of losing the voice and really, having abused it. So I needed to heal my voice. So I got a real life experience of, like I was my own first client, basically. And I was getting all these healing tools at the time. It was awful coming to me in this beautiful way. And what happened was healing. And I've been able to appreciate and really notice what worked and what didn't work. And so I have all these tools that I can share with people. And sometimes I work with people that aren't singers, people that just like were smokers or damaged themselves or want to sing or want to act or whatever. And it's a beautiful process, or just people want to speak their truth. Sometimes you know, that clamp feeling of, you know, some people live perpetually this way, and there's trauma there, or there's limitation. And so we address it on all these energetic and physical levels, and magic happens. So,
Yeah.
and I still do it with myself.
Wow. Yeah. It's it's amazing to me how few people realize how important the voice is, given we all use our voice. But we sort of think when we say voice, we think like singers,
Right.
you know, but we all use
Vocal
our
athlete.
yeah.
Right. We need to speak, and we need to speak our truth, and you need to say the truth, you know. A lot of the times also, like, maybe the actual vessel of the voice sounds okay, but what we say and what we mean are not connected,
Mm,
you know. And that's part of it too. That's vocal health.
mm,
That's expressive communication. So the point of it is to get closer to that sat. Satya, and like be able to say what you mean and mean what you say, and to align with your truth, because what we say is what we create.
mhm.
So what we say inside and what we vocalize, to both are important.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just something that happens to be on my mind currently, but just how so much of communication, like conflict communication, I guess, is sort of a spoken trauma. Like you're speaking in order to hurt the person you're speaking to because you perceive that they're hurting you, and there's this like
Mm.
need to wound other people to feel better about your own wounds. This got really deep, but that was the first thing that came to mind when you were saying that. And that's so hard on the voice.
Yes. And if you're a sensitive person, you probably immediately feel that.
Yeah.
You know it, you feel sick. All of a sudden, you didn't mean to say what you said, and it's like, why do we say what we don't mean? What was the purpose? Do we think about what's the purpose of what we're saying? What's the intention?
Right.
So, like, I really appreciate what you said there. It's true.
So you said you took a little break from this because you've had some babies. Congratulations.
Thank you.
I haven't actually spoken to you since having. How long have we known each other? Do you remember what that date?
Yes. Probably 12 or 13 years.
Okay. Okay.
At
Yeah.
least 12.
Yeah, that was a while ago. And at that time none of us had children.
We're all LA girls.
Yeah. Yeah. That was really fun.
It was a really fun time. You know, I was telling the story because I was just in LA, and I was like, you know, we had a little Jetta, the three of us, you know, Kundalini yoga band, and could do magical things at 3 a.m. And we were all so committed to being there. We'd wake up. I had to wake up sometimes at 2 in the morning or 2:30, because when I lived up the mountain in Malibu, just to get to sadhana at 3 or 3:30. And there's something special. I've noticed, like, a lot of the most amazing people I've met, I was able to meet at like 4 a.m.
Mhm.
Like, you're crazy too. Great. It's like a perfect filter. Like, you're willing to try something new and expand your mind, and, you know, do some work on yourself. With It's your intention, right? It doesn't even matter what technique you're doing. It's just like that you're committed to doing something for you.
Yeah.
And I appreciate that about people in general, and I still do.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
what was really funny actually is I think there were like a couple of teachers that we were just like a little bit too lively for. And they were-
Maybe. That's my problem for
which was funny to me because I'm like, I think we all said this. We were like, don't you want to be awake? Like, don't you want to?
It's 5 a.m. By the time we're singing, it's 5 a.m. The sun's coming up. Let's go. Let's do this. Yeah.
Yeah, and you played drums, which was pretty cool because I didn't realize you played percussion until then. So yeah.
Well, I don't know if you remember this, but the first thing I played, because I did play percussion, but the first thing I played was the bucket.
Yes, no, I do remember.
I was like, I need a drum. And
Is that my bucket?
there's
Who's
your
It was
bucket.
my bucket. Why did I have a bucket? That's
I
funny.
don't know, but it worked.
I was like living in like a closet space studio. Like,
I
I
remember.
have
It's
a
so
bucket.
fun.
That's funny.
I played the bucket and then I got a real drum. I graduated. I was
Yeah,
like, for my birthday, I was like, okay, I'm gonna buy a real drum. Let's do this.
that's so
And it
funny.
wasn't the same. I like the drum. I like the bucket. It
Yeah,
was
yeah,
perfect.
yeah. Well, and so we've been talking about Trisha, but I feel like you're there. You had more of a peak moment in the music in the
Yes.
music realm
Hey, for me,
afterwards.
all special for me
Also,
and my
yeah,
family.
yeah. But I think if people know you, they probably know you more from your touring with Guru Ganesha, do you think?
I would think.
I mean, not, I'm not comparing Trisha and Guru Ganesha. I mean, like, is there something else that I'm not aware of?
In Miami,
Yeah,
the Miami community also knows me from a band called Soul Temple.
that's right. That's right. You did that.
And actually, we're doing a Soul Temple reunion at some point in the winter time.
Oh,
Yeah, so I'll be down there, and one of the main artists that was part of that, just amazing singers, amazing energy. Also, Kundalini. You probably met all of them at Solstice, or most of
I,
them.
I think I met two of them.
Yes. So we're going to be playing again, and
Oh,
just giving love to the Miami community after I've been away, because I live now in Asheville for the last almost 7 years, and going to be heading back and starting to grow some roots back in my hometown.
that's cool.
Yeah, that's really cool. I
Do
miss them.
you, yeah, I was going to ask you, do you miss that in terms of music scene, social scene?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. I miss my Latin cultural tribe down there. Although I was just telling someone yesterday, over the past years, there have been a lot of Miamians that have decided to make Asheville a base. So lucky for me though, because I don't think that I would have been able to. I love it here. Appalachia's spectacular, but I would be really missing something if I didn't have the soul tribe from Miami up here.
Mm.
And they've
Yeah.
been coming slowly, because it's a great place to be.
What is I've never been to Asheville. What is that like?
Paradise, actually. It's especially probably 7 to 8 months out of the year. It is a natural marvel of beauty. It's a temporal rainforest, and you don't even want to get me started because I'm obsessed with this part of the world. It's lush, it's biodiverse, it's one of the most biodiverse regions on the planet, definitely in North America.
Oh, I didn't know
It
that.
is the most biodiverse in North America for sure. And it's heavenly. Waterfall life. You can go to a different waterfall every day. You can see different views of mountains, rocks, like
Huh.
boulders, bathe in crystalline water and drink water from your tap, spring water, like have
Wow.
nature. And not everywhere. If you're on
Yeah.
a city grid, no, but if you're in rural, like I'm in a rural, I'm out in the forest. So, there are perks that you get being out. And
Mm.
actually I got into real estate because I'm such a fangirl of of Asheville, that I ended up like doing real estate here, because I was just like, this is amazing. Come be here. And then I just started helping people for free find their magical spots, find their rentals, and it just naturally ended up developing that way.
Wow.
Yeah. So sometimes I sing and real estate. What are the acoustics like? And
All connected.
yeah, this works. So yeah, can you sing into the hills? And it's been really cool. People
Yeah.
like yoga, and it's a very strong spiritual scene. A lot of ecstatic dance. For being a mountain town, it's a really nice balance of bougie. You can have like a nice meal in a beautiful hotel or a beautiful restaurant, and then also just go barefoot and camp, or hang out with our hippie tribe. And everybody's kind of mixed together in a really beautiful way, that at least resonates for me. So it fits my spirit. But I
Yeah.
do miss I miss Miami too. So it's good that, you know, you can just take a flight or a drive. It's not too far. So yeah, it's nice
Yeah.
to hop around this beautiful country.
So that's all your kids know, right? They've grown up in Nashville, or did you move them from Miami?
They know I've gone back and forth a bunch, so they're very familiar with the Miami and beach life too. So I'm hoping for more of that this winter. Yeah.
That's cool. Um, so you've been practicing piano a lot lately. See, is that new, or is just the sharing of it new?
Yeah. Slowly but surely I have been facing my terror of expressing things that's not singing.
Oh, okay.
My voice, I just feel so comfortable singing. I have no problem, and I'll sing anywhere. I'll do anything, you know. But when it comes to sharing my instruments,
Mm,
even though I've been playing as long as I have, I just always got nervous, and I really I feel like I've had an opportunity to really dive deep into what was limiting me and what was blocking me from sharing. And so I've decided to bite into it and just, you know, if I'm here to help people express themselves, I better express myself, like really, and just, and you know what, maybe something isn't perfect, but it's authentic for me. It's something that I'm working with, and I feel that there's beauty there, and I hope that it inspired artists, you know, like, so that's why I so resonate with this, because it's like I keep feeling like more of us have art inside, and it doesn't have to look like, unless you play the guitar, unless you play these very specific instruments that are recognized, or do this very specific dance, like, no, everything is art, and everything can be art.
mm,
Whatever you do with your heart, and whatever you do with your intention, and really put your heart into it, meaning like it's an offering. If you put your offering into something with love, you can make it art. And you know, I think that art makes life fulfilling. And when you give your flavor of something to the world, to make it better, to make it more lively, to make someone feel good, you know, that massage therapist that put their heart into making your body feel soft and release tension, that's an art, and everything can be art. So it doesn't have to be perfect, it has to be an expression of you.
mm,
And that's fulfilling. It's like yoga, like it doesn't have to look a certain way. You don't have to stand on your head 10 minutes or whatever. You could,
mm.
but it doesn't matter what it looks like. It matters what it feels like for you while you're doing it. And if
Right,
you focus on that, you're happier. And then
right.
you might even find a vocational gift in that creativity space. And the more creative we are, the more fulfilled we are. And so I think as a society, if we encourage each other, and it's not like, oh, well, that's just a crazy artist, or this is an eccentric artist, and it's like, it's so much pressure. I don't know, I think it might have been Elizabeth Gilbert. She talked about how artists just have this like intense pressure on them, the authors or people who make these, it's just like, because then you do a hit, and then there's all this pressure to, you know, catch up to it or do better. And it's
Mm,
because we literally have like life or death. You're either going to make it or you're going to starve to death. And that
mm.
pressure makes us so imbalanced, because it's such an emotional place that we come from when we're creative. So if we just ease off and say, just just make everything art that feels natural to you, and then it doesn't matter, it's not about making it, it's not about how many people hear you or how many people buy your, it made you happy, that has value.
Mm.
There's value in you finding joy in whatever it is that you're doing. And if we think like that, then there's no pressure, because it's about how much you enjoy something,
Right.
and then we're happier. And if it happens to do great and people resonate with it, and it's lucrative, then that's wonderful. But you know, it's just finding art where you are,
Oh, I
I
like
think.
that. Finding
Like, and thank you.
I talk
I
about,
myself, I'm sorry, what?
oh, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say that I myself felt that imbalance at one point. Why do you think I struggled so hard with I know for sure that when I looked inside, when I was dealing with the hardest time of my life, of my before parenthood life, was studying in college and wanting to be a yoga teacher and wanting to be an artist and feeling the entire establishment family, you can't do that, you'll starve, you'll die if you if you become an artist, you know, you're not good enough, you're this and that. I struggled with that, and it was like I thought to be an artist that meant to choose a life of poverty and to choose a life of struggle. That's what I was told. And so that's all that I am. I feel like I'm an expression of art. I hope, at least that's my intention. And the more I have lived in alignment with my heart's callings, the more I feel that is true for me. But at the time, I thought that wasn't an option. So I just felt empty, because if I can't do what I'm here to do or what makes me happy, then why am I living? Right? Because if we're here to be happy, we're here to find our joys and to contribute something. And so I struggled so much with my own feelings, and then came to the conclusion at some point where I was in the hospital at some point with the eating disorder, and I had this like inner voice wake up, kind of slap me around, and it was like, what are you doing? And I'm just like laying on the hospital bed, like, what? Like, you know, you're killing yourself, right? But you're not killing yourself, you know? And I realized that's when I realized that I was slowly killing myself without understanding that that's what I was doing. And so it was like, well, what, you know, that you can just kill yourself. I heard this voice just be like, you know, if you don't want to be here and you don't want to live, then you can just do that. So why aren't you doing that? Oh, my family would be so hurt. You know, everybody would be sad and stuff. So then my inner voice was like, okay, so you're not killing yourself because your family would be sad. Okay. So then why aren't you living and doing what you want to do? Oh, because my family said of me wanting to be a yoga teacher and be an artist. Oh, okay. So you're not dying for the family and you're not living for your family. How smart is that? You know, and it was just kind of like, in other words, it was like, you can do whatever you want to do. It's okay. You know, the truth is I didn't want to die. I wanted to live. I love my family. So the truer thing was I love my family, and I'm also unhappy that I can't just do what makes me happy. So it was that decision in that moment to live for my heart. And that if I actually lived from my heart and I lived from my joys, that would also contribute to my family, and everybody would be happy. They're the ones with the limitations. I can't live my life based on someone else's limitations. So it was a hard line that I drew in the sand and was like, from now on, whatever it is that this says, I'm just going to do it. And that's been a long time ago. And I'm proud and grateful to say that it's a good way to live. My experience is that it produces good outcomes because it's your intention.
When you have an experience like that is so painful, I can imagine, it must make it a little bit easier to remember that sort of like pivot point. Like when you're living and you're going, oh, wait, no, this is why I decided I was doing this. And I can't turn back now because I remember what rock bottom felt like. Does that make sense?
Yeah. It's just, it's habit. It's more of like habit forming things. Like when you check in first, because at first, you know, maybe you're even disconnected, you know what you want at a broader scale, but you don't know day to day what it looks like to live from your heart. You know, you don't really know what it means. And so when you make the practice of, I don't know, I'm not used to this. I don't know. I'm not going to make a decision because someone said it was the right thing to do. And you learn to meditate with that heart center and let that heart become the compass of your life. So it's almost just like becomes the second nature. You don't really, you do, I think sometimes things that, motherhood or big responsibilities that have their big shoulds attached to them, and we're doing those things, then that's where it gets a little gray. And then you have to, when that compass starts to go, like the alert system, like this is not you, this is not the way you learned to live your life, then that's when introspection has to come and be like, okay, well, I know that if I keep going that route, it won't lead me anywhere good. And I want to be a whole happy person to show up for my kids too.
Yeah.
Because I'm teaching them. I want them to be happy. I don't want them to do what somebody, even me, says is right.
Mm-hmm.
I want us to discover together what the right thing is. And for them in their heart, when they're old enough, have learned the skill of checking in with themselves to do what is their compass is telling them to do.
Was this time the time when you were at the hospital? Was this before I met you?
Way
Before?
before.
Before. Okay.
Way before.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You always struck me as, and I admired you for this, like when I was, wearing a turban, doing my whole, Kundalini thing. I mean, you really did embody that sort of, you weren't buying it all, I guess is what I'm trying to say. Like you weren't taking it all. You were sort of taking the parts that, resonated for you and kind of sifting through that. And um, it was actually more like how I experienced how Europeans kind of dealt with the practice, where they were like, oh, well, there's this thing over there, but we also like our wine, and um, and it just it it did feel it felt so much freer and healthier, but I don't know that I ever really like would have said that, at the time. um was that sort of strange for you to be in this world where there was so much like orthodoxy, and you were kind of,
Me,
yeah, you exactly.
me, was not accepted by a lot of the community, as you know.
I don't
Um,
actually know. I don't know that.
well, I wasn't, and that's okay, because as it turns out, a lot of the people who had problems with me have other kinds of problems,
Yeah.
because I wasn't hurting anybody ever, I was just being me. And I think that, maybe femininity or flowing or sensuality was very triggering for some people. But I'm just in the school of thought where it's all God, and it's your intention. If my intention is to provoke something, which is never, it's my intention is to express myself with respect to my body and respect to the temple that I believe that I'm living in. But that orthodoxy, the tight turbans. Yeah, like, oh, turbans are on too tight. That's okay. I love you. I learned to love everybody, even if they didn't like me, because I feel inside, and I felt then that whatever problem they had with me was really a problem maybe they had with themselves,
Hmm.
or with an aspect of their own life that maybe they were shutting down, and that's kind of how I saw it. So I actually most of the time had compassion. Just felt like, when there were deliberate things that felt hurtful to me, which did happen, it challenged me. But for the most part, I just felt like, just love. I'm just gonna love everybody and accept everyone. And if they accept me, good. And if they don't, it's not my problem.
Yeah. I remember Guru Ganesha saying something to the effect, please don't get upset with me, Guru Ganesha, if I'm paraphrasing, but I think this was about right. He was like, people seem to, have issues with, Paloma being a little too sensual or whatever, but it's always the people who don't buy tickets.
Applause. Funny. Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. It
Yeah,
was something like that, but it was basically like, we sort of let these people come to the concerts, and the people who are really paying for our tour are like, not looking so closely at this, which I thought was interesting. Yeah.
yeah. I love everyone. It's okay. It's okay. You know.
I yeah. I mean, I think that that's the case with really any, with anybody is bothered by you anyway, right? Like it's even if it is about you, it's always about them because it's always, and then vice versa. If I'm bothered by something, it's always about me. It's some process in me that I'm, having to confront. So,
I say that regularly. Even when someone hurts you or, relationship goes south, and it's just like, it's really about how you interface with what's in front of you, and the forgiveness. Sometimes we think we have to forgive somebody else. We often have to forgive ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
Our inner knowing, deceiving our inner knowing, or going against that heart, or putting up with things that weren't right. And it's really just you. It's all relation to you
Yeah.
to navigate. And so I completely hear that.
Yeah. Forgiveness is an interesting concept because it's sort of like love, where I think we have like a kind of a froofy, like kind of superficial understanding of what it is. And we talk about forgiveness, it's like, you give someone a hug back, like after they've hurt you or something like that. But it's not always about like welcoming somebody back into your life, right?
Yeah, at all. It's about letting go of a charge,
Hmm.
and really, I think, understanding what it was you were upset about,
Yeah.
because we can't control people's behavior. And, sometimes things happen that hurt us. And God knows I know that really well. I know what that feels like really well, where things happen, and it's like forgiveness can be a one person job.
Hmm.
That person doesn't even need to ask you for forgiveness, because it's not about them anyway. It's about you having a clear heart and feeling good, and finding a way to love even that person without accepting them into your heart again, or without accepting, but that you can find a way to wish them well and have good feelings within yourself. Not that you want to be friends with them again, or you want to, be intimate with them or whatever, but kind of still seeing them as part of the humanity that you
Hmm.
are also part of. And you can't extract yourself. They are part of you, because there's only one of us out there,
Right.
real level. I
Right.
think that's how I see it. One in the many, but we're one, and we're one heart. And I don't have to accept what's unacceptable, but I also don't have to hate anybody for doing something that was unacceptable.
Yeah.
Can just not cut off, what isn't right, and find the part of them that is lovable, and wish them well. And
Mhm.
because ultimately, what I wish for you, I wish for myself. You can't
Hmm.
really wish somebody bad and then not also feel bad.
Hmm.
My view.
That reminds me of this exercise that I had to do, not had to. I was at Agape. It was around
Okay.
the time yeah, it was around the time I knew you actually, and we were doing the sadhana things, but um the Reverend had us do this exercise where we imagined someone that we were having a lot of difficulty with.
Mm-hmm.
Um oh no, sorry. The beginning, totally messing this up. The beginning of it was imagine something you truly desire.
Okay.
Like just, feel that truly desire. And then you imagine the person that you're having difficulty with, and you imagine the joy of seeing them receive it.
Mm.
It was pretty fantastic.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, that's a good one.
Yeah. Because I think what you said about not, wishing them well. I think that that's a huge key to forgiveness. It's not letting somebody back in, knowing who they are, and maybe they've taken advantage of you several times, or they've done, they've done things that that that's a part of their character, but you can still wish them well, as in like, I wish you healing. I wish for you to, figure this out. But for me, I don't want to be part of that process anymore, as an example. So yeah, but it's tricky because it doesn't always look the way that like we were taught in preschool, like Tommy took
Yeah,
your toy and now you must forgive him, give him a hug, you know,
right.
be friends again, you know.
Exactly. So, if somebody hurts you, like, oh, you forgave him just like that. And it's like, yes, actually, yes. Does it mean I want them back, or does it mean I want to be? No, it just means that I see that this person is doing somewhat the best they can, even though they're making mistakes, just like I make plenty of mistakes and I'm not a perfect person. And I can find a way to wish their soul to evolve, not because I'm better or not because I'm worse, but because we're all on a trajectory of doing better.
Yeah.
And I hope someone wish me well, especially, and can find forgiveness in me if I've wronged them, and find something good about me, in their heart somehow.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. Because much like you said, we would want that.
I would want that. I'm not
Yeah.
perfect. I'll, maybe somebody's going to hear something I said here and be mad at me, one day. I hope not. But, you never know. You can control people's perceptions of, how people sometimes they don't hear what is, they hear what they want to hear. And it's
Yeah.
okay. It's
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just recognize sometimes when I haven't been ready to hear something the way that it's been presented to me, and then I'll look back a few years later and go, "Oh, okay, yeah, I can see what that was." I remember hearing Abraham talk about how it wasn't like spiritually superior to be vegetarian at one point when I was vegetarian.
Mm.
I was pissed.
Right. Yeah.
You said
Triggered.
that. I didn't want to listen to like any of their anything, and then like a few weeks later, I was like, I can see how that concept would be very freeing.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah, I had once a conversation with a permaculturist, and I talk about it sometimes with people who are struggling with the veganism or vegetarianism. I'm mostly vegetarian, to be honest, but that's mostly. It means I just mostly like to eat vegetables and fruits
Mhm.
because I naturally want to do that. That doesn't mean I don't also have other things,
Right.
at this point.
Yeah.
But when I was more strict and very much a fanatic in my own way in that regard, I did kind of get fanatical
Mhm.
about food with all that. And I had a conversation with this permaculturist, and I was like, compassion for animals, and I don't want to eat because of, I just I don't want to hurt any animals or even any plants or whatever. And the permaculturist was just like, hey, that plant, if it could, it would eat you. But and there's some plants out there that grow these big, beautiful fruit with the spikes, 30 pounds, and they kill multiple people a year, when the fruit falls, and then that blood goes in the earth and they drink that blood.
Ooh.
That literally happens in some, in some of these like really like Thailand, for example, the durian fruit, like I don't even know how many people die with like, some of these like big fruits, and it's like that plant, if it could eat you, it could. And then, some people put blood in the plants and they thrive because it's a cycle of life, and it's intention and it's respect. If you have respect and intention and kindness, it doesn't mean factory farming is okay. Does it mean torturing an animal of any kind? No, you should never torture or, control an animal to not live its life the way it's meant to. I think we should all be able to live freely. But yeah, just think conceptually like that. It's a cycle of life. When you die, you go into the earth, and that blood nourishes the plants, and it will thrive with your blood.
Yeah. Yeah,
You're not
I
separate.
think when I was raw vegan. I think maybe even when I met you. Was I? No, maybe because I had started the yoga. I had to transition because I had to eat mung beans and rice in order to be socially accepted. But I was like, I was pretty strict. And I remember talking to somebody from, in the agricultural world, or who knew more about agriculture than me anyway. And I remember just getting like the point of like, not that it really sunk in at that point, but it's like the idea that you could have an agricultural system that completely bypasses any death or any, um, like the cycle, like you're talking about. I mean, even like you're killing worms, there are field mice that are, like how you just can't. I remember seeing like flour that was like, vegan flour, because they were taking care to like not kill any field mice when they were, doing that, like that. I think we also like have a huge discomfort with death, too. I think that's
Yeah,
kind of a big, a big issue with our culture too,
that
that
is.
we have no understanding of that as like an integrated part of our of life. It's this mysterious, scary thing, and we never see bodies, and it's
Yeah, I agree. I
uh,
agree. I mean, I still prefer, I actually like the mung beans and the rice and I can go so long without touching any animal products, and I don't miss it until my body asks maybe for something. And
mm,
then I just learned to have compassion for this animal too,
mm,
that needs certain nutrients. And maybe there's a way. I would rather not have to, but yeah, sometimes I'm still so programmed that sometimes if I'll have like a certain food, I'll just think somebody's going to be really angry at me and like come out of the refrigerator. You're a yoga teacher, like you're not supposed to. And I'm like, fuck, I had the salmon, I had it. I didn't mean to hurt the fish, but you know.
oh
Yeah, so I still kind of like have moments like that where I'm like, it's okay. I'm taking care of my body. I'm asking, what it needed. And
yeah,
those programs, they run deep. They're hard. And
yeah,
I love everybody and I wish them well, like whatever they choose to do with themselves. And if they feel nourished and strong and healthy, I think more power to them.
yeah.
I'm not trying to change anybody's anything, not their diets, not their minds, nothing.
It was interesting for me, because I think a tipping point when I started eating other things besides vegetarian food was more psychological. Like there wasn't anything really deficient in me. It was
Mm,
just like this need to be more free in allowing myself to make choices.
okay.
So, but I'm the same as you. I actually prefer eating mostly vegetables and fruits and, grains and stuff. I think my body's just gotten used to that too. I mean, if you do that for long enough, I
Mm,
think you just get more used to certain diets. But yeah, I mean, I did go through a period of being afraid to go grocery shopping, and you know, and like and really feeling guilty and not talking about it. Um, but I think coming back to the Abraham thing, like I don't think that it is spiritually superior to, I don't think it's spiritually superior to judge anyone. So, if you want to make choices for yourself, it is definitely,
right for your heart and your body and your mind and your children.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Like
That's an interesting thing
it's
too.
it's funny because like I see it all the time, like these, vegan. I have no problem with vegans, but I'm just using them as an example because they'll be like completely, and then they're giving their dog, they themselves, their dog's eating fresh chicken.
Yeah, interesting.
Interesting, right?
Yeah,
Yeah. Why? Why is that? I don't know, because about that animal needs something.
yeah, yeah,
But so
yeah.
the point is that.
My my kids are funny too. Like my eldest has never wanted meat, like not interested in it. Just even now that he has the option, like, no, thank you. Doesn't look good to me. Total, and I totally support that. He's totally fine. And then my youngest has always wanted meat. Anytime, even when I was vegetarian, he would see other people eat it. He was like, oh my God, can I have some of that? So I find that really interesting, because it
Very.
definitely haven't, like it wasn't even an option for him and he wanted it. And then I didn't like ever persuade him or even have it that much available, but it was just something that he wanted. So that's interesting.
That's the beauty of life, is that maybe he doesn't need it. Maybe he doesn't need it. And that's why we just can't inflict our views on anybody, because do what you need to do.
Yeah.
I would love to not have to have any animal, but if my body's asking for them, please don't judge me.
Right.
Doing what I feel is right for me. And I'm not going to slap the vegan sausage out of your hand and tell you, I'm not going to do that to you. Please don't tell me anything. I'll leave you alone and you leave me alone. And that's actually one of the things I really like about rural Appalachia. It's a whole, you do you, I'll do me. And you need me, neighbor, you just holler, like, and that for me, like, just in general, like, I think we're too much involved in each other's business. And I think that social media maybe has kind of exacerbated this, because we just know so much about other people that maybe we don't need to know every single detail about every single person and what they think about every single thing. And so we inject our thoughts and opinions on other people's lives regularly, and maybe we shouldn't.
You've been super private. I mean, like, I'm pretty impressed. You've kept your personal life very close to you.
Yeah.
And I know that was deliberate, right?
Very. Very deliberate. Painfully deliberate, because I struggle, because I want to share more, but it's like, I also just feel like you got to keep some things inside for you. And I know that the moment you share, you're inviting other people's opinions and you're inviting other people's input. I'm not so much about that, in most cases. And that's why with my art, it's vulnerable. And I say that all the time. I'm like, okay, I know that when I share this, piano players and look at that. Other people, are going to think of, it's okay, because I'm open to being judged and to being seen and to being appreciated, because those all kind of go together too. Like, it's not about any of those things. It's about me sharing and expressing something in the hopes that it inspires someone else. And also to let somebody know that this is something I'm doing. And I really feel that there's value in developing things that make you happy.
That's a nice note to conclude on, I think. Do you want to let everyone know how they can get in touch with you? Maybe take one of your classes? Do you offer them online?
I do actually. A lot of the newest student I have just enrolled from Europe, so I can do Zoom more than not. That's how I work. So on palomadevi.com, they can book directly, and actually they can book a free call. So if there's like a question specifically about technique or about how it works, or all the things that I offer there, you can book a 15-minute call, or just book directly and we do our class.
Cool. And then your stuff with Soul Temple, is that up there too?
It's not. We haven't recorded. We did make an album, but I don't think that they put it out in the streams. It was just an album that remained in physical form. But I'm sure that if that becomes available, I'll also put it on my website.
Right, but you are doing live shows with them, you said.
I will be, yeah.
Okay, cool. And so if they follow you, maybe?
They follow me on social media. My handle is Paloma Devi. My Facebook is also Paloma Devi. I try to keep everything pretty the same. So I'm on Facebook, Instagram, and my website.
Okay, cool. And those will be hyperlinked in the podcast notes, so you guys can click on that. Thank you so much, Paloma Devi, for joining me today, and I will see y'all in the next episode. Bye. Thanks for tuning into the podcast, y'all. Please like, subscribe, rate, comment, whatever the platform you listen to podcasts on offers you as a way to let its algorithm know that you're enjoying these episodes. That really helps. Also, there's some links in the podcast description notes that allow you to support the podcast in a way that benefits you and us. So please check those out. And if you'd like to stay in touch with me, you can sign up for my mailing list at portersinger.com. We'll see you in the next episode. Bye.